it's great to be surrounded by so many other talent acquisition professionals today, and I just think these sessions are so great for learning, sharing ideas and inspiration, and I always go away just feeling like there's so much to digest and learn for the future. So today I'm going to talk about talent acquisition. I'm going to talk about engagement and supporting Squiggly careers and how to approach high levels of engagement within a talent acquisition team. And actually the importance of Squiggly careers and the common mistakes that I see far too many companies make. So if I look back at my career, I started within a recruitment agency in 2007, and today I'm working for the largest growing tech consultancy in the northeast of England. So Opencast started 10 years ago. When I joined, we were a headcount of 80, now we're approaching a headcount of 450. We work within central UK government, fintech, amongst another array of private sector clients, and for us, keeping our people at the centre of everything that we do is absolutely key. For much of my career, I worked in a large national RPO, followed by many years of setting up smaller RPOs across the STEM industries. And when I first joined Opencast, I remember joining and speaking to our MD at the time, a guy called Carl Shovlin, and he said to me, like, Lorna, if you can hire 4 people a month, we'll be dead pleased with that. And in my head, I was thinking, that's easy, okay? And honestly, like, massive wow, because 2 years later, we're a team of 12, and at peak, we're hiring about 50 to 60 people a month. And those that are involved in the tech industry will know the challenges that we face with that. So let me ask you all a few questions. Put your hands up. Who at high school thought they'd end up in recruitment? It's pretty much no one, right? And who left their agency job to go internal? There's loads of us. And the truth is that talent acquisition can be a massively rewarding career, but only if you're in the right organisation. At Opencast, we regularly issue engagement surveys so that we can pulse check how folk are feeling and look to replicate that across other areas. So if we've got particularly positive areas that are performing really well, we look at those that need a little bit more attention and what can we transfer across to those other areas. We use a platform called Hive. I know that there are absolutely loads out there. I like it because it's particularly good. You can fully interact. It's completely anonymous. And I love its high five function. You can really give people the recognition that they need for the work that they're doing within the teams. And the big standout message that we received from the last survey is that our lovely people team, comprising of 25 people, scored 90 plus. And this is beyond outstanding when we consider the average benchmark is across other organisations to be 40 plus. So within the survey, we're looking at things like sense of belonging, and it's demonstrating how a person's uniqueness is accepted and treasured by Opencast. Inclusion plays a huge part in our culture and who we are as a business. Wellbeing goes hand in hand with engagement, and when an employee feels mentally well, they're more than likely to feel engaged and present. We put so much effort into wellbeing, and honestly, we really look at things like making sure that people have the right home and work-life balance. And our health and wellbeing team do such an amazing job of issuing wellbeing goodies regularly, running various sessions, and also promoting our mental health champions in a really relaxed and informal way. So let's look a little bit further into this. I know what you're all thinking, because I'm thinking exactly the same, what on earth are we doing to achieve such high results? So we're encouraging a growth mindset from day one. We want to understand and actively nurture people's potential. We don't want anyone to feel restricted. And we fully support people exploring opportunities around them and allow people to be creative and experiment. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see other companies make is that they try to confine people to their current role, and whether they realise it or not, they cap people's potential. How often have you all been sitting in an interview and heard someone say that they felt confined to their role, that they couldn't see a clear and compelling career path ahead of them, and that they were curious about other areas of the business, but there was no way to explore that, and perhaps they were even made to feel guilty, like they were being unfaithful. And at Opencast, we do this really differently. So what is it we're doing? From day one, we invest in growing the skill and capability and development of everybody that joins the team. We're identifying the strengths and interests and aspirations as early on as possible. And as part of the interview process, we're asking, what is it that you actually want to learn when you're with us? And we're truly meaning that. And by doing this, we can understand what it is that we can do to support them. And by doing this, we can understand what we are able to do as a business to support this, and what additional capability they're going to bring to the team, and how this is going to complement the skills that we already have in the existing team. So if I could give one bit of advice to TA leaders out there, it would be find out early on what your team really want to learn when they join you. So Dominic Cadbury famously said, there's no such thing as a career path. It's crazy paving, and you have to lay it yourself. The term squiggly career is a modern day take on this phenomenon. So if you've not read or heard of Squiggly Careers, it's such a great read. And the key message that's delivered within Squiggly Careers with every career comes change and uncertainty, but with that becomes possibility. And this is the wonderful Ed. So Ed works in our team. He's a talent coordinator. When we first met Ed, we knew he was right for Opencast. He was looking for a break into the user-centered design world, but unfortunately Ed narrowly missed the mark. However, we saw his potential, and the rest is history, really. 9 months later, he's been working closely with our user-centered design practice. He's been given the exposure to research projects, and he has a mentor and a people experience partner to look after him. And he's on track to meet his career objectives, and by early next year, this will happen for him. And this is Lauren. So Lauren is going to kill me because she's sitting here right now. But this is the lovely Lauren. Lauren felt restricted in her role as a recruiter within an agency. She has a passion for all things marketing and wanted to make a step into this world. Raising employer brands at Opencast is hugely important because we've expanded across the UK this year. And Lauren is now getting the exposure she needs. She has a mentor and the opportunity to immerse herself in a variety of projects. She has become the important link between talent acquisition and marketing, and this in turn is helping us support our overall national hiring strategy. And this is our Liam. Liam wants to become a developer. He very quickly has taken on the responsibility, alongside being a talent specialist, but looking after our applicant tracking system in I suppose, a systems administrator role. He works really closely with our most senior developers so that they can really guide and support his training. He regularly attends our community sessions, and honestly, like any other session that he can get involved in, he will do so that he can learn from it. And we want to prepare Liam so that by next year he can progress and transition into a junior consultant role. These are all real life examples, and honestly I've got others too, and I 100% believe that this plays a huge part in why our team feels so committed and positive towards Opencast. Living our values and hiring people who hold a similar set of values are what sets us apart and makes us special. We've worked so hard as a team to implement these values throughout our recruitment process, and we very much live them as a team, which is where the engagement starts. You can only imagine to the point where someone referred to one of our recruiters as like the human version of our values. I was thinking like, really? Like that's just like, so that's amazing. So I'm going to share a video with you all that talks you through how we went about creating values at Opencast this year.
Company values can be tricky to get right. Using a user-centered design approach, we worked with a small team of people from across the business to investigate what our company values are and what is important to our people. Opencast now has 5 company values that have been fully informed by our people. So, the 5 values are: build trust, enable people, work together, do the right thing, and make a difference. These are embedded into everything within Opencast, right through from recruitment to offboarding.
That video truly makes me proud to be part of an organisation that hold their values in such high regard. We don't go pinning them on walls or adding them to people's computer screens. We hire people that want to live and work in this way, and people that want to act as guardians of our culture. And to give you some examples, we've probably all had experiences where we've apparently been empowered to lead a project or own a process, but in reality, we've only been given the responsibility to get it done. And at Opencast, we make sure that when we empower someone, we let them take the lead, we let them make mistakes, and we let them learn and explore. And over the past couple of years, like many organisations, we've been left in a position where we've had to work from home. We were scaling super quickly and recruiting people remotely, and we've had to just build trust with each other. We're an extremely inclusive and non-hierarchical organisation, and we want to make sure that everyone feels equal. We understand that people have differing experiences, and we cherish that within our teams. At Opencast, we use the term "don't step over the milk," and we want to make sure that we feel that everybody can get involved and that their voice is heard and that it can truly make a difference. So, I've completely sold you the dream, but honestly, it's not all perfect. All of the above has been very much purposeful, but don't get me wrong, it comes with its challenges. When you're working in scale-up mode, the operational processes and structures aren't always matured, and so you're quite often scaling and implementing these things at the same time. We don't have formal appraisals at Opencast, nor do we want them. But what we do want is allow people to learn and develop and to thrive on a culture of feedback. Our people team have been busy creating a framework for our people to be able to progress their careers. And so we've implemented this now for our consultants, and now it's time for us to face inwards and work through our core function roles to achieve exactly the same thing. We're very lucky at Opencast. Within our organisation, continuous learning is very much supported as everyday life. It might be that we attend events like this, or we attend lunch and learn sessions, and whatever it is, allowing people to take the time and learn is factored into our capacity. Learning is absolutely not forced, by the way. It takes time and commitment, and we understand that everyone has a life as well outside of work. So if you've got time to slot that learning in, then absolutely fab. We also need to think really carefully about succession planning, because from what I've explained, when you're looking at people squiggling into different roles and moving out of your team, essentially you're creating a team where people can easily develop, and there essentially is a time frame in which they will remain with you. So Natasha asked me to think of some key takeaways, and what I've grown to realise is that I'm massively passionate about talent acquisition, and seeing my team flourish and grow is so rewarding. I spent a lot of time thinking about how on earth we've achieved our ENPS score of 90, how we maintain that, And these are the 4 things that I think made all of the difference. So it's avoid restricting, create a space for the team to perform and have a positive recruiting experience. This is really positive for me. Don't be selfish. We all know that good talent acquisition folk are really hard to find. Recognise people's potential and look for opportunities for your team to thrive. And your team will in turn create a great experience for your candidates and your hiring manager community. Be an enabler of development plans. Don't let development plans just gather dust and sit in the drawer. Help to inspire and let the team grow and explore. And give people time. We all know that time is precious, but allow people to invest in themselves and genuinely care that they actually achieve their goals. And don't be afraid to let them go. I'd really love for you all to reflect on how well you and your organisation does these things, and if there might be something that you want to improve or do differently in the future. I hope this has been insightful, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Round of applause for Lorna. Okay, we are going to ask some questions because I've actually figured out I can run this mic around. So does anybody have any questions for Lorna? Hands up. Yep, Sam here. Amazing.
I can try.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Perfect. How do you go about educating, new hiring managers or new team leaders in, say, like a software engineering team where you might be hiring someone that actually wants to then get into DevOps and things like that? Because some of the things that I've faced are hiring managers, they want to hire someone to do the job that they need, and then they're a bit reluctant to let them go. So how have you installed that mentality throughout the business to have that openness? It's
a really interesting one, actually, because as an organisation, it's fairly new for us to be hiring people that are inexperienced. So to hire people that are at a junior level, I reckon I'll probably count them on my hands really at the moment, but it's absolutely something that we're aspiring to, and certainly something for our plan for 2023. So the way that we've been going about it is that, because we're a consultancy as well, it makes it really difficult, because essentially if you're getting a junior person, they're going to need to be chargeable, or the business has to absorb that cost. So we've been able to get the time of consultants, or some of our senior consultants, to spend with the people that are looking to make that move, so that and get them engaged in some of the internal projects. The more that they can evidence that they're able to do those things externally with clients by having the opportunity to do things internally first, it's a bonus for us as a team, but also then they're already geared up and have a certain level of experience to be able to go externally. And I think that's probably the way that we've been approaching it. We were all, as a talent acquisition team, we were really kind of I suppose at the point where we were we're missing a massive part of this market here. We absolutely need to hire grads and entry-level folk, and it's just about making those small steps forward and then being able to get to that point where they suddenly flip and go, actually, as a team, we're ready to do that now, and that's probably the approach that we've taken, that small steps. Yeah.
That's a great question. I'm going to just, I'll come to you in a sec, because I just want to supplement the chat here. It seems to me like quite a significant mindset shift to the hiring managers that they have to adopt this. Because I think most of us are familiar with the fact that hiring managers don't necessarily like recruiting. They see it as a thing that they have to just do to get their team and then get on with operating their business unit. Yeah. Whereas the message we're trying to say is, look, you can't just keep control over these people. They're going to want to do different things. They're going to want to move to different departments. Yeah. You've got to get rid of this idea, this person's a person forever. This person's here for 18 months, 2 years, or whatever it is, and they're going to progress. So that's a really significant piece of cultural work, which is to your credit that you've done it. But I think there's probably more lessons to learn on how we can implement that, particularly for a more mature business.
Yeah. It is. It's a real cultural thing, actually. And for us, we're really lucky, because it is almost embedded in our culture that actually people really, really support that. It's not just talent acquisition, our whole business does it. So for us, we're pretty lucky in that
The value of starting early, folks. Value of starting early. Okay, the gent had a hand up here.
My question was, that last question was about at the other end of when your talent team are going into the business. What about when you're trying to hire your team, but to unlock what their real passions are? Because they might not be really wanting to talk about it, because they're thinking, hold on, if I talk about what else I want to do, how am I going to get the job in talent acquisition, but then sort of nurture that through the right training and the right sort of development?
Yeah. Again, I think down to values, that openness, that like it's okay to want to do something else. Like that's the feeling that we're giving when we're hiring people in the team. And I think I alluded to the question that we're asking, what is it you want to do in the future? What is it you want to learn when we're with us? And that's a really important message to be sending. And then people tend to, within our talent acquisition team in particular, people are tending to just open up at interview stage and saying, actually, do you know what? I'm really interested in data, or I'm really interested in the system side of things. And I'm thinking like, brilliant, because I know what you can get involved in. And it's like, I think like thinking like that and taking that approach is, different to thinking like they're coming in to do a TA role, and actually like if I don't they're not doing that 100% of the time, then that's like a negative thing, because of it's going to impact delivery. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It has the reverse of that, because when people are really engaged and they're really loving the work that they're doing, whether it be marketing, development, or the user-centered stuff that Ed's doing, like they're loving it, they're loving life. And I mean, that's just showing in the results, really, in the levels of engagement that we're getting from our team, particularly in a high growth mode where it's super stressful, right? We've got like loads and loads of requisitions to fill, and we've got loads of, we've got lots of demand from our clients, because the client services team are bringing in lots of opportunities for us. And so for us, giving the people more time to be able to invest in stuff that they like to do alongside, because you wouldn't be in TA if you didn't really like doing it in the first place, right? So it's about just complementing that, really, I think.
Cool. Any more questions for Lorna? Okay, you could have stuck your hand up simultaneously. Let's save me some running time.
When you hire these people, are you setting expectations as to how long they need to be doing the job that they've come in to do in order for you to get value as a business from that before they pivot into something else? Is that a conversation?
No, it's not actually. It's not a conversation. It's more a kind of like sense of like how the person is feeling. Like, you don't want to bombard them and overwhelm them with like loads of stuff to do with marketing before they've got the sense of like how to perform in the talent acquisition role. So for me, it's like, has the person grasped their role, and is it time to start getting them involved in other initiatives to start like complementing what they're doing? And that for me is working really well.
To support that question, are there questions that you ask to try and surface up these subterranean interests, so to speak?
There's like certain questions. I think it's like really like, it's just exploring, being inquisitive, like wanting to genuinely know what people want to be doing and caring about that. Like, I honestly do. Like, and I think like if you care about where somebody's career is heading, not everybody wants to do my job. Not everybody wants to head up the like recruitment path and become like head of talent acquisition. Like, and actually, I think if we all understand that, then you can uncover like these other skills and experiences that you can utilize, and that is a really great thing.
Yeah, and I think the template of a squiggly career, I think it's such a great term, isn't it? Because everyone immediately gets what that is. And even the visual tells you, okay, there's multiple ways to get to different destinations. Okay, someone had a hand up, I think, over there. Any more questions for Lorna? God damn, too shy. No? Okay, I think I had one. I'm going to try and remember what it was. It's gone out of my mind. Pressure is on. Holy shit. Right, so hang on. Let's say there is super pressure. Like really, companies perhaps not growing as fast as it is. A lot of us are kind of working in situations where, growth plans are getting cut. We're looking at a recession maybe next year, whatnot. At what point does the pressure come into the business where they're starting to say, look, the time you're giving the staff to explore what they want to do, we've got to cut this back and stuff like this. Do you anticipate that situation potentially happening, and what do you have a protocol in place as to what's going to happen?
I actually think that this whole that whole solution that we've got set up at the moment really supports that, because if the requisition levels go down and you haven't got like loads of recs to fill, then actually there's loads of opportunity for people to get involved in other stuff. It doesn't limit them, and people's time can be distributed elsewhere. So I actually think it's the reverse of that. Like, I think it supports opportunity for people to give in other areas.
That's actually a really good point. It's exactly the opposite, isn't it? Hey, listen, I never said I was smart, you know. Okay. Any more questions for Lorna? Any more questions for Lorna? No. One more question from me then. Say there's a bunch of people listening to you, which they have done, but they haven't come from a culture where this has been supported. It has been, you know what, here's your job, get on with it.
Yeah.
What's your advice to that person? How do they sort of try and, you know, change that culture? What's the kind of steps they need to take?
I think you need to be having the discussions. I think you need to be open, and if it feels restricted, just try and force beyond that. Like, open yourself up. Like, make sure that people are aware of what you want to do. Don't be afraid to share that with people. Don't be afraid to think like, someone's going to think, I don't want to be in this job if I'm going to say, like, oh, hands up, I want to get involved in something else. Like, that's not the case. Like, you know, and actually, like, one thing I would massively recommend is, like, if you have, like, if your company would support, or you have the ability to invest in a career coach, like, do it, because honestly, it's absolutely life-changing. Like, the time when we're all massively busy as talent acquisition professionals, but having that hour or hour and a half, whatever it might be, every couple of weeks to invest in yourself, to learn about yourself and to know where you're going to be or wanting to be heading, so that you can start to close that gap and head towards it, is like, it's the best thing I've ever done. So massively would recommend taking that approach if internally people aren't hearing you and listening to what you want to be doing.
That's great advice. Especially recruiting is one of those jobs where you could work 25 hours in a day if you had 25 hours. So you've got to create the time for yourself. Round of applause for Lorna Madden. Thank you very much, Lorna.